That Republican Senator and presidential candidate Lindsey Graham of South Carolina is here. He's also a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. So you heard the president's words. He'll veto any legislation that prevents the implementation of this deal. Your reaction?
Get out your pen, because you're going to have to. This is not going to sell to the Congress or the American people. It won't sell to the Arabs. Certainly not going to sell to the Israelis. The goal of dismantling their nuclear program through negotiations was the right goal. What we've done is we've ensured they become a nuclear power. At the passage of time, without behavior changes, we've locked in an industrial strength nuclear program. By the mere passage of time, they can have a bigger program. They don't want a power plant, they want a bomb. So every Arab nation is going to have to say the following. About 15 years from now, they'll have a nuclear weapon. We better get started on ours.
Well, you're saying the opposite of what the president says, and
totally.
I'll just run this by you, because he also said in his speech earlier this morning that Iran currently has a stockpile that could produce up to 10 nuclear weapons. Under this deal, the president says, that stockpile will be reduced to a fraction of what would be required for a single weapon. Isn't that a good thing?
What I can't convey apparently well enough is that he's locked in a nuclear program. He hasn't dismantled one. The Arabs now know that by the mere passage of time, the Iranians will become a nuclear nation. Israel's chief antagonist in the world.
Isn't it already a nuclear nation?
It doesn't have the capability at this point to make a bomb because of the sanctions have been crippling, but they still destabilize the region under crippling sanctions. They topple 4 Arab capitals under sanctions. They're going to get $18 billion under this deal. What do you think they're going to do with the money? They're going to put it in their war machine. This is a death sentence for the state of Israel if this is not changed, because you're ensuring the Ayatollah will get a nuclear weapon. He doesn't want a power plant. He wants a bomb. We've locked in a pathway for a bomb. That's exactly what we've done. And every Arab nation is going to say, we want a nuke of our own now.
You too, because this is really, it's really difficult for most people to understand, because it is so complicated, right?
Right.
So the United States was negotiating with Iran back in 2005, walked away from the negotiations, and then those sanctions were put into place. During that time, at the time that we walked away and the sanctions were put into place, Iran had 164 centrifuges. And once the sanctions were put into place, they built 19,000 centrifuges and began enriching at 20%. Doesn't that clearly show that sanctions did not stop Iran from developing nuclear weapons?
I can tell you this deal locks in over 5,000 centrifuges, and at the end of the deal, they can do anything they want. You've put the Arab world in a box. Every Arab nation has got a decision to make, and to make soon. You have guaranteed that the Iranians, in a 15-year period, will have a nuclear program that will lead to a bomb. If I were President of the United States, I'll tell the Iranians, you could have a peaceful nuclear power program, but you're not going to have a large enrichment capability, and if you want a war, you will lose it. We have now ensured a nuclear arms race in the Mideast. We've given capability to one of our worst enemies to spread more terror, and we put the state of Israel under an existential threat. And every slice of political life in Israel will say this is unacceptable to the Israeli people, because it creates a threat that they cannot manage.
I think that Secretary Kerry might say, you got to give something. You can't have everything you want,
I would say to the world, you don't have to give the largest state sponsor of terrorism more money until they change their behavior. I would say to the Iranians, you don't deserve any more money because you're wreaking havoc throughout the region. You killed hundreds of Americans. I would say to the Iranians, we don't trust you with a large nuclear program because you lie and cheat. You put every Arab state at risk. You put Israel at risk. You put our country at risk. You're taking religious Nazis and empowering this regime at a time when we should be neutering this regime. This is a historically bad deal. It will throw the region into further chaos. It's taking a gasoline can and pouring it on a fire. The Mideast is raging in terms of conflict now. You have taken it to a new level. I want to end their nuclear ambitions without firing a shot. You have now ensured they will become a nuclear nation. This is a bad deal. The worst possible outcome is you've created a nuclear arms race in the Mideast. You put Israel at risk, and you put us at risk.
The only other thing that I would add is that we don't know all the specifics to this plan.
That's true.
And you yourself haven't read anything.
That's true,
right?
but here's what I do know. Here's what I do know. They get money without changing their behavior.
And you're talking about the money that's frozen in bank
accounts
right now.
They get $18 billion after their behavior of toppling, they've driven the pro-American government in the ground in Yemen. We don't have eyes and ears on al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula because of Iran. They keep Assad in power because of Iran. Who in their right mind would give this regime $18 billion given their behavior? Who in their right mind would allow them to have a industrial-sized nuclear power program that can expand over the mere passage of time, given their behavior? If they would change their behavior, I would require certification that they're no longer a state sponsor of terrorism before they get a penny. I would never allow their nuclear program to be locked in place without any certification. They're no longer a state sponsor of terrorism. This is a change in the Mideast that I've been fearing for all of my life. We have now set the Mideast on a course that, if we don't change course, is going to lead to a nuclear-armed Mideast.
See, the president says exactly the opposite. By not implementing
this is why we'll have a
robust,
Mr. President, you want a robust debate, you're going to get one. You've been dangerously naive about the Mideast. You and John Kerry have. You've allowed the region to go into flames. The radical Islam on the Sunni side is running wild. Now you're giving the largest state sponsor in terrorism an infusion of cash, a large nuclear program that over time will turn into a bomb.
Senator Lindsey Graham, thanks so much
for
being with me this morning. I appreciate it. And